Back in the 1950s, Detroit was insane. This wasn't just a successful city. It was one of the richest places on earth. Cars were the center of the American economy, and Detroit was where they were born. Ford, GM, Chrysler. If you had two hands and could show up on time, you could get a factory job that paid middle-class money without a college degree. Own a house, raise kids, retire comfortably. That wasn't a dream. That was normal life. So people flooded in. Millions came from all over the U.S., chasing factory jobs. The city exploded in size. At its peak, Detroit had almost 2 million people. Detroit built the city as if growth was permanent. More roads, more schools, more cops, more city workers, massive guaranteed pensions and benefits. As long as the factories stayed, the math worked. Then the factories started leaving. Not because companies hated Detroit, because Detroit became too expensive to compete. By the 1970s, building cars in Detroit cost way more than building them elsewhere. High wages, powerful unions, strict labor contracts, expensive pensions, high taxes. Every single car rolled off the line with a higher price tag. At the same time, oil prices spiked, making big American cars less desirable overnight. And foreign automakers showed up with smaller, cheaper, more reliable cars. Detroit's companies were bleeding market share, so they followed the money. Factories moved out of the city to cheaper suburbs, then to southern states with lower wages and weaker unions, and eventually overseas, where labor cost a fraction of what it did in Detroit. Same cars, same technology, drastically cheaper production. From a business perspective, it was simple math. From a city perspective, it was catastrophic because the jobs disappeared faster than the people did. Middle-class families left first because they had options, and when they left, they took the tax base with them. What stayed behind was a city full of people who came for factory jobs that no longer existed. This is where things started breaking socially. Unemployment exploded, schools collapsed, businesses shut down, entire blocks emptied out, crime spiked. Detroit wasn't just losing money, it was losing order. And with less money, the city had fewer police, slower response times, and weaker enforcement. Crime rose even more. Property values crashed. Houses sold for almost nothing. And when property values collapse, so does tax revenue. So Detroit did what cities do when reality hits, but denial still wins. It borrowed. The city issued bonds to pay for daily operations. Year after year, they kicked the problem down the road, hoping growth would magically come back. It didn't. By the 2000s, Detroit was a city built for 2 million working people, trying to survive with under 1 million. Most of them poor, stuck, and paying very little in taxes because there simply wasn't any money to tax. Streetlights stopped working. Police response times stretched into hours. Entire neighborhoods looked abandoned, and the debt kept growing. By 2013, there was no more pretending. Detroit filed for bankruptcy, the largest municipal bankruptcy in U.S. history. This wasn't sudden. It was decades of bad assumptions finally meeting reality.